Eton mess is something that everyone has their own version of, but I discovered this technique whilst trying to make pavlova and realised if you caught it just the right time in the oven, you can scoop out the centre and leave yourself with a beautiful crispy shell. I usually serve this in a bowl with lots of garnish around the outsides and a little bit of strawberry sorbet. It gives you a really nice pop of colour, but sometimes it creates a little bit of mystery and a little bit more drama if it's the only element of the plate. So I kind of use both plating styles interchangeably. So this is the recipe for my Eton mess. So the first thing we do for our Eton mess is to put our egg whites and sugar together for our Swiss meringue. And I like to use Swiss meringue for this one because it's nice and soft and it makes it a lot easier to scoop out when we make the shells. So now I'm going to put the sugar and egg whites over a pan of boiling water until it gets to about 50 degrees. You need to whisk as you're going and make sure that the bottom of the bowl doesn't touch the water. I'm just going to slowly warm it up. Then we're just going to put this on the machine, a nice high speed. Until it becomes nice and airy and thick. So when the meringue's nice and thick and still slightly warm, but not too hot. So I'm just going to take the finished meringue out of the bowl and fill up my bag. So take it off while it's still a little bit warm, so it's still slightly soft. It's whipped nicely, but it's still a little bit soft, and it will help us get a nice smooth shape to our shells. So when you filled up the bag, you want to get as much pressure in it as you can, because you want it to be nice and smooth, and you want as much control as you need. So you want to twist the end of the bag so it's nice and tight, and you can feel the tension in the bag before you pipe. So you want to keep pipe nice and firm, a nice smooth shell, and just twist the end to stop you getting any excess on top. Don't worry too much about the ripples, because when you put it into the oven, the heat of the oven is going to expand the meringue slightly and should smooth out any ripples that you have. So I have a little bit of freeze-dried strawberry powder, and all we're going to do is sprinkle it over the top, which will hide any blemishes or any ripples in the meringue, and also give it a nice contrast of colour as well. Just want to explain the settings of the oven. I always keep 100% humidity. It's tempting to turn it down, but what you're going to get is lots of cracks in the top. It does speed up the process, but you'll ruin it. 90 degrees. If it's too hot, they'll expand too quickly and dry out too quickly and crack as well. And also, lower than that, you're going to be waiting a really long time. About 25 minutes, but you have to gauge, depending on the mix, whether it's dry enough on the outside to be able to hold. And what I also do is take the fan right down, just so it doesn't blow the tray away or misshape any of the meringues. So I try and keep the fan as low as possible. So when these come out of the oven, you just need to make sure that the outer shelves are nice and dry, and also that you can pick them up. And if you can, that's fine, because that will be able to hold it while you scoop it out. And then you're going to take your meringue and just break that outer layer on the bottom, just to open up the soft inside. Then just use a spoon, just to gently scoop out the middle. It's delicate. You just have to hold it gently in your hands and just make your way around slowly. And it won't break. As long as you hold it gently, you'll be absolutely fine. What you want to do is leave just the very outer layer in there, so it's nice and crispy and really thin. And then you're going to carry on, take out all the middles, and then we're going to put them back in the oven to dry in a second. So now we've scooped out all the middles. All we're going to do is put them back in the oven to dry for about 10-15 minutes, just so they're nice and crispy. So for our creme fraiche mousse, we've got our egg yolks, which will be on the machine. We're going to boil our sugar and also add the gelatine to it. We've got some lightly whipped cream, very lightly whipped, and also our mixed with our creme fraiche, vanilla, and also our yogurt powder, all in one bowl. So the first thing we're going to do is pop on our sugar and water to boil. We're going to boil it, and then we're going to bring it to 121 degrees using a little thermometer here. and then we're going to add the gelatine to that mix once it comes off. So once you put on your sugar to boil, all you need to do is start off your egg yolks and just start them whisking just to aerate them while your sugar's boiling out to temperature. So the sugar's ready, it's just come up to 121 degrees. So you turn off the heat and just pop the gelatine in. And then bring it over to the machine. And once your gelatine's dissolved completely, you're going to pour it down the side of the bowl into the meringue. And what you want to do is keep the speed quite low, because if your whisk is too fast, it's going to end up throwing the sugar everywhere. So keep it quite low, and then once it's all in, you turn it back up to full speed again. So once the pâte bombe has cooled down, we've got 3 mixes now. We've got your pâte bombe with your yolks and your sugar. We've got the creme fraiche with the vanilla and the yogurt powder. And then we've just got some whipped cream here as well. So there are 3 parts that we're going to mix together. So the first thing I'm going to do is just going to loosen the pâte bombe a little bit with a little bit of creme fraiche mixture. Then fold in the rest. And if it starts to set, you can always just whisk it a little bit just to bring it back. And then the cream. And then we're just going to pop this in the fridge to set, depending on how deep your tray is, between an hour and 2 hours. So next we're going to make the strawberry gel. All we're going to do is boil strawberry puree with a little bit of agar and sugar, and then we're going to let it set in the fridge and blitz it to a gel. So I'm just going to mix the agar and the sugar together to disperse it, just so it doesn't clump. And then turn on my strawberry puree, just so it starts to get warm. And then what we're going to do with the strawberry puree is just sprinkle in the agar and sugar mix. And then whisk it up to the boil and boil it for at least a minute. And when that's been boiling for about a minute, what you're going to do is pour it into a small bowl or a tray if you need to set quicker. And then pop it in the fridge to set. So the next thing we're going to do is cut the strawberries. I'm just going to cut them into quarters, and we're going to add a little bit of lime juice to it, a little bit of lime zest for a bit of freshness, something that's a little bit different in the dish. So all you're going to do is just cut your strawberries into quarters. And then a little bit of lime zest. And then a little bit of juice, just a squeeze of juice, just to freshen them up a little bit. And just squeeze that lime in there, just for a bit of the extra flavour. I'm going to leave it for 5–10 minutes, just to take it on. So now we're going to plate the dish. First of all, our strawberry fluid gel, which we set in the fridge, we've just blitzed it and popped it inside a squeezy bottle. Our strawberries have been macerating for about 10 minutes, so they're nice and soft. They've taken on a lot of flavour from the lime. The creme fraiche mousse has been set in the fridge and then just popped into a piping bag, so it's ready to go, and with a small tip. And we've got our dried meringue shells here as well. So first thing I'm going to do is just take our dried meringue shell and pop in a little bit of creme fraiche mousse. Followed by strawberries. I'm going to try and use quite a lot of strawberries in here because it is the main feature of the dish. You want them to shine. I try and stick at least 2 in there, 2 whole strawberries. And you just use a little bit of the gel just to fill in the gaps. It'll give you a nice concentrated flavour as well, so it'll burst with strawberry. As soon as someone tastes the dish, it will pop with strawberry and lime. And what you can do is put it in the centre of the plate and decorate around with the mousse, with the little dots of gel and things like that, some strawberries, some flowers. But what I like to do sometimes is just put it plain on the plate with a little bit of gel, and it sort of adds to that sort of surprise. So they look at the plate and there's only one thing on it and they're like, what is going on? And then obviously you crack the dome and everything's inside. So I normally just put 3 small dots of concentrated gel and just finish it like that.